guy here. So it is 20 minutes a day, 3 times a week. It's all going to be programmed in Wodify. We program it on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You can do them on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. You can do it on Monday, Thursday, Saturday. Wherever you want to fit it in. I probably wouldn't do it Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, right? But space it out, give yourself a little bit of rest in between, so you're not just hammering down every single day. Especially in the beginning, you're going to be talking to some of these muscles that you haven't talked to in a while. They're going to be a little tired, they're going to be a little fatigued. So just trust how the program is written, because it's going to slowly ease you into using these guys more, okay? So it's 20 minutes a day, 3 times a week. You're going to have 2 sections, and I've got them labeled as circuit. And you're going to go through typically 2 to 3 movements with a little bit of rest period, right? So how this is written, this is day 1. So this would be starting on Monday. You've got 10 banded T's, 10 banded A's, and 10 standing external rotation. Then you have a minute of rest. There's going to be some notes down here. Read those notes. Take use of those notes, because that's going to tell you kind of what to do, how to do it, some tips. So movement stays slow and controlled. Don't rush. 1 second pause at the end. 2 seconds to return. Right? Doing this is different than doing this. Right? Intentional, slow and controlled movements. So make sure you pay attention to these. So that would be circuit 1. Usually, not all the time, usually it's about 10 and 10, right? Circuit 1 takes about 10 minutes, circuit 2 takes about 10 minutes. Sometimes it's 4 and 15, sometimes it's a little different. But generally speaking, you're going to get to 20 minutes worth of movements. Here's the second one, 20 bear hugs, 10 prone PVC pipe pull downs. Again, rest a minute. This one's only 2 rounds. Again, we got some notes, right? So it looks great, awesome. I've got these movements. What the heck are they? What's a prone T? What's a bear hug? What is a PVC pipe pull down? There's going to be videos that show everything. So you watch these videos, right in Wodify, right from your phone, click it, place. Everything in here is something I've recorded. So I spent last summer recording, basically just putting all the groundwork in, trying to figure out what am I doing, what's this look like. So everything is filmed. 99% of them are filmed right here in this room. Some of them over there. But it either, some of them are just very simple, like 15 seconds, just showing you the motion. Most of them have some sort of dialogue where I'm kind of talking you through it. You're going to see roughly 12 to 15 exercises. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to link the videos for the first couple weeks. After a while, you're going to remember them, you're going to see them. But the bottom is going to have all of the videos. So just click it, watch it, go through it. I would recommend maybe doing it maybe the night before. I mean, you could definitely, if you have the time, definitely do it while you're going through it. But hopefully, you can start on this thing, knock it out, and not have to take more than the 20 minutes design. The idea is not to take up a bunch of time, right? We all have lives to live. We're already in here for an hour. Some of us, that's kind of the stretch, like that's about as much as we can go. Some of us have a little bit of flexibility to where, okay, I can do longer. So the intent, the design of this is to be the most efficient in the least amount of time and the most bang for your buck, right? The mobility piece is going to be at the very top. So it's going to always have mobility. I would consider this optional, but highly recommended. Highly recommended. It's going to be soft tissue work, so working out the tight spots, the things that cause I can't keep my arm back enough. How do I get my arm back? I got to free up the tissue. So there's mobility and there's stretches. The mobility, like this first one here, is rotator cuff release. When you're doing this mobility stuff, it's not all going to feel amazing, right? It's not all going to feel great. And there's going to be some spots that you had no idea was there, and you get to it and you're like, what on earth? What is going on back here? The muscle, how the muscle works, the simplest way, contraction, relaxation. Contract, relax. If I have a knot, some sort of tension, some sort of tightness, restriction, instead of the muscle moving like this, I've got a kink. So now it kind of moves like this. So with the mobility stuff with the lacrosse ball and the golf ball and even the foam roller, is it goes from getting it from this to this. If the muscle can move better, the bones and the joints are going to move better. You're going to feel better. Reduce the chances of injury and pain. So this stuff will help with the pain that you're dealing with. It will also loosen up and free things that you're doing. This stuff is going to be about 10 minutes. It's a mix of some of it's just mobility for the day, some of it's stretching and mobility. That kind of makes sense? Question?
Is it intended to do the mobility before?
I would.
After?
You can do it either way. I would do the mobility first because, think about it, if this is your muscle and it's moving like this and I do the mobility and all of a sudden I can get it to move like this, and then by the end of the week or the end of the cycle, it's now moving like this, your exercises are going to be better. Right? So think about loosening up the tissue and then strengthening the tissue. With kind of this whole program, you can kind of look at, like, we're going two aspects here. Or let's say you've got some pain, right? So some neck pain. Let's just go from there. Neck pain, shoulder pain. We've got two things we got to do. We have to find the pain. We have to fix this, and then we have to strengthen. We have to fix the muscular imbalance. So fix the pain, fix the muscular imbalance. The majority, the meat of this, fixes the muscular imbalance. The extra stuff fixes the pain, fixes the restrictions. So do them together, and that's going to be you're going to have the most success. I've done all of this. So I've gone through about 8 months worth of this. This is the hypertrophy cycle. So this is focused on muscle growth, the size of the muscle while also gaining strength, right? So there's like muscular endurance, there's tempo work, there's a hypertrophy. This is working on let's make our shoulders look better and strengthen them doing it. So the rep range for all this stuff is it's like 10 to 16. And every week, every 2 weeks, it's going to jump up. So how it's written here, you've got the 10 banded T's, 10 banded A's. That's going to be 10 for the first 2 weeks. Then weeks 3 and 4, it's going to be 12. And then the next 2 weeks, it's going to be 14 and then 16. And again, trust this. It starts off like, okay, I can feel some stuff going on. By the time you get to the back half, usually once you get to week 3 and beyond, and you get to week 7 and 8, like wow, there is some points where I was like, this is tough.
And it really takes longer. It will take.
Still 20 minutes.
Okay.
Still 20 minutes. So I adjust the rest period and I adjust the rounds to meet. Right? So the volume is going to kind of fluctuate. The reps are going to continue to go up. The rest typically goes down just a little bit, but the volume is going to match the hypertrophy. So it's not going to be, well, this, okay, so I will say there's like maybe 1 or 2 in there that's like 23, 25 minutes. And I'll note that in there. I'll note 25-minute section, just to kind of give you a heads up. Questions on this? Does that kind of make sense? Okay.
Will we figure the 10, 15 pound part?
Oh, yeah. Yep. So so a lot of what we do is with I'm glad you asked that, with the resistance bands. We've got crossover symmetry up here. We've got another version called 4-core back there. They do the exact same thing, just different companies. It's not going to be the same for everybody. So one thing to know is this is all going to be lighter weight stuff, right? We're not hitting PRs with my banded tees, right? So it's going to be up to you to figure out what is the best weight. I put a recommendation for most of us, where most of us can be in that 10 to 15 pound range. All the resistance bands have resistance in pounds on them. So that's where that's going to come in. The purple band, for example, I don't know how much resistance that is. You're not going to do banded tees with those. It's too much, I can tell you that. When you're doing these exercises, wherever you're standing throughout the weeks, just make it consistent. Like a lot of these, I would stand at that second line where that little kind of cutout box is, and that's where I did all of my work. So you want this to be kind of like a medium, lightish to medium. This shouldn't be, this is my first rep and I can barely do it, right? This is multiple reps. Like you're going 3 rounds, you're going to be going through 30 reps. And it's back to back to back. So medium-ish weight, you'll figure it out pretty soon. Okay, this feels right. So recommendation, not a requirement. And when you add in the pauses and the slow return, it makes that 10 pounds feel much heavier. Yep. Good question on that. Other things we're going to be using, a foam roller on a wall, right, to do some wall slides, targets that serratus anterior. Light dumbbells, like 10 to 20 pound dumbbells, so this might even use 5. those bands, those resistance bands there, we're going to do some shoulder forward, shoulder back motion where it's slow and controlled and you're squeezing the shoulder blades back. Everything that is required here, this gym has. This gym has everything that you need. If you are going to do it somewhere else, the biggest thing you're going to need is just the resistance bands. That's going to be the biggest takeaway. And pretty much any standard gym, I've done half of this at Gold's Gym. Right? They've got everything I need. Some light substitutions, but everything works the same. What else do you have to say? Yes.
So as of right now, I come 3 days a week and I come to strength classes. If it's like a strength component, would you use just doing this on a different day or doing it before or after the workout?
Another great question. I have done all of these before my workout. This to me is an amazing warm-up. So right now what my training is, just to give you an idea, I'm training in gymnastics, like CrossFit gymnastics. And so this is my warm-up. I spend 20 minutes doing this, and then I get into my gymnastics. If you have literally any barbell work, like if you would have done this before the pull-ups and the deadlifts today and the thrusters, your shoulders would have felt much, much better. Try to give you some loose warm-up. So if you can do it before, do it before. With the given COVID situation, right, and we don't necessarily have an open gym, the timing for us to do it here, after the 5:15 class, after the noon class, after the 4 p.m., after the 5 p.m., after the 8 a.m. on Saturdays, after the 9:15, during this 10:30 time. So there's like 8 times or so. For a lot of us, we'll probably have to do it afterwards, and that's fine. These two did it afterwards and still had awesome results. There'll be like all those times is when there's going to be a coach here, right? So the in-between time in all those classes, where we're going to do it, we're going to most likely have to do it in the back, and we can even do it outside in here. We can't be interrupting the main class. So that's the one priority is don't interrupt the class that's going on. If you're back there, you're typically fine. And so we'll probably end up moving these ones back there, so we'll have 2 sets of bands set up there. And the bands can come off, right? You can take those bands off, and if we need to, like, we can attach them to these little poles right there and do it there.
We did
So-
it on the tree
We've
once.
done it on the tree.
Done it on the tree, right? Is that the most ideal way? No, but until things are a little more normal, right, and we can have a little bit more freedom walking around, that's what we'll do. But I come here in the mornings a lot of times, and I'll knock it out in that back corner. These guys knock it out in the back corner. So if you have the morning class, if you come to the 5:15 like you guys do, Patricia, just stay afterwards and do it. We've got 2 sets of bands. I know you've got your own set of bands, so we shouldn't run into any, over here in the morning as well, we shouldn't run into any issues as far as equipment. So you guys are probably going to maybe share equipment with the band. Bands aren't used every day, so there's some times where it's like I'm just on the ground, and all I need is a mat. That's all I need. Does that answer your question? It's kind of a long-winded answer to
Yeah.
your question. So try to do it before. If you don't do it before, not an issue at all. Knock it out afterwards. And then maybe just take a look at the volume. So being that I've gone through and done all this, I've tested this with doing CrossFit workouts. Like, is doing too much of this and then doing an overhead movement, is that too much? Typically, no. Now, if you're doing 100 overhead movements, and you notice that like you're doing a bunch of overhead stuff in here, maybe not on the same day, but you should be okay doing it on any day with CrossFit or strength. Other questions? Okay. Yeah, the last thing with the programming, there's testing. So, I think it's good to know, like, is this making progress? You'll be able to feel progress, but let's measure it. Let's take some measured progress. So, the programming starts on Monday. On Sunday, so tomorrow, I have entered in the testing. You can do this the day of your first day if you want. That's totally fine. You can also do it the day before. So the testing is probably going to take 10 minutes because you got a 5-minute window. So there's 3 tests. The first one is simply the feel test. How do my shoulders feel? If I think about what's been going on in the last couple weeks, last couple months, what movements bother it, take a couple minutes, just jot down. Everything is going to be able to be scored in here. No, you're not going to score any reps for the field test, but the comments section, you can write it in there. If you got a journal, you want to write in a journal, that's fine. Just have some sort of note somewhere of what do my shoulders feel like, how do they feel after a general workout, what movements bother it, the field test. Then we'll do a banded 90-90 external rotation test. So this is one of the main movements you're going to see in the programming, so we're going to test that. 3-minute window. I put standing 4 to 8 feet away. Those new bands, they're pretty taut, so like you're not going to stand as far back. Crossover symmetry, still have the same amount of resistance. They're longer, so the distance you're going to stand back is farther. So the main point is finding a medium resistance at a medium position and going through the testing. 3-minute window, it's all described here, but you'll knock out as many reps as you can, right? Log that down. You'll take a 5-minute break. There's 3 things you're gonna log. You're gonna log, you got a 3-minute window, right? What was the length of the time in that 3-minute window that I was able to do this? Probably not gonna get 2-3 minutes. I made it 57 seconds before my shoulders were done, right? So you put the time down, you put how many reps you completed. I got through 30 reps in 57 seconds. Write that down. And then something called the level of exertion. This is, again, kind of more of just like a, how do they feel, kind of like a field test. This chart right here, and a lot of like physiology testing, it's like, what was your level of exertion? Like today's workout, what was your level of exertion? Like an 8.8, a 9, like I was dying after the workout. Just kind of a simple measure, how hard was this? Because at the end of the 8 weeks, when you redo these tests, is the time frame longer? Could you get more reps done? And did it feel easier? All of those will let you know, did I build strength through this program?
So when we're doing this for like the 3 minutes, like as soon as we feel like we need to take a break, we can't do it anymore, then it's done.
Yep.
Like no rest and like go again.
Yep.
It's done.
Yep, and I just kind of glossed over it. I didn't read this word for
No,
word.
that's fine.
But that's exactly what that says.
Okay.
Once your form breaks down, once you lose positioning, all of a sudden my arms are way up here and my arms drop, terminate the test. So if go to the point, basically you're going to muscle failure, right? As much as your body will let you go to muscle failure. So once the rest happens, you're done. If by some chance you make it to the 3-minute window, there's probably a good chance the resistance wasn't high enough. Or maybe you do make it to the end and you were just like, oh my gosh, I could barely lift my arms, right? You have 2 measuring tests. The first one is that banded 90-90, and then the next one is the prone swimmer test. This one's the same thing. A 3-minute window, perform 1 unbroken set at a pace of 1 rep every 10 seconds. So what that looks like, I'm down here on the ground, prone swimmer, lift, 1 pace, or sorry, 1 rep every 10 seconds, so it's slow. I'm not resting. Get back up to the top. I'm not resting. So this is challenging all those muscles in the backside to stay contracted, go through this range of motion. The videos for these tests are right here as well. So you'll watch the video, and then you'll perform the test, and you'll just log in. So test in the beginning, retest in the end. What progress do you make? Questions on that? I know it's kind of a lot of information. But I think once you read this, you're, okay, this all makes sense. Anything else? Okay.
Dylan, can I make,
Yeah.
did you tell them these are all in Waterfly for them to sign into class?
Yeah, so another thing. Sign into class so you can score this.
They will not count towards your reservation, towards your other classes.
There you go. So sign into these strictly so you can log these in, right? Again, I think having measurable, you're probably, like most of these exercises, you're probably gonna stick to the same weight, right? The banded 90-90 external rotation, you're probably gonna stick to the same weight because the reps are gonna go up. You might find, you know what, I actually can go up a little bit weight, that's fine. But just having a way to measure it by logging this in, it, to me is important. So can we do this without technically logging in? Yes, but it's like, what did I do last time? And am I making any progress? So it's really just to benefit you to sign in for it. And like Sherry said, it's not going to count against your classes. So thank you for bringing that up. Other than that, I wanted just to show you a couple of exercises. I just wanted to go through a few things. I wanted to show some of the mobility stuff so you guys get an idea of what's going on. So the first thing I want to do is try to find some spots here so we can fix this. Give me just 1 second. I'm going to grab something out of my car and then we'll start.
So they're in there on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, just because we just have to pick dates to put them in there. You do them Tuesday, Thursday, just make sure you sign in.
Okay, so I
Then
can go
you
back
log
and sign
the
in.
date that you want to. You can sign in before, and then go over here.
Okay.
But they are in there on Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
So they're not time sensitive for specs.
No,
Unless you miss it, right? You have to at least do it.
just at least sign into it.
At least sign it 60 days.
Yeah, just sign into
But
it.
if you pass this one, then it won't let you go back.
Yeah.
and sign
I mean, I can go back and sign you in later.
Yeah.
If you forget, you can just message me and I can do it. But yeah, just sign in.
Oh, are you asking if I don't do it Wednesday, do I gotta sign in
Yeah.
Wednesday? Okay.
And then do it Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, you can sign in, they're open a week in advance, so you can like sign in today, like, after we give you all access to it, like, you could go in tomorrow and sign in for the whole week,
Okay.
and then just do it whenever.
Ah,
Does that make sense? Like, it doesn't have to be on
And I
Monday.
can load the results
okay,
from
stop.
Thursday now, and assign in Wednesday.
Yeah,
You have to sign in. Is that
Yeah.
how you go there?
I found the spot already.
Yeah.
Okay. Remember with this, if you have some sort of pain, I hurt when I do pull-ups. I hurt when I do whatever it is. This, right? Fix the pain. Find the pain. Fix the pain. Fix the muscular imbalance. This you can fix the pain and not attack the muscular imbalance. Guess what's going to come back eventually? Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe not next week. But at some point, the pain's going to come back. That was me. Kept having like every 2 months. Right? Okay, so there's two things that we're going to use primarily with the shoulder. A golf ball and a lacrosse ball. Lacrosse ball is great. It's a little bit softer, it's a little bit squishier, it's not as impactful, not as intense rather. These work great. And you can get a lot of good stuff done. I like the golf ball because it's firmer, it's smaller, it's more precise. Some of these guys are small. And some of the spots, like, you could be working through here, I'm good, I hit a spot right here, oh Lord Jesus, help me. And I'm good, right?
that's
So-
what Krista does.
So when you use this guy, right, or maybe you have a significant other that can like push with their fingers, right? All of the videos, as far as mobility, when I'm talking soft tissue stuff, uses a lacrosse ball on the wall. You can also use this on the ground. The wall is less intense, the ground is more intense. So as you start to do this and you find those tender spots, you might say, okay, I can feel it, but can't quite get into it as much as I need to. Let me get around this. So the first thing I want to do, I want to go to the wall. So I want everyone to find some sort of space on the wall somewhere.